everyone, thank you so much for joining me and welcome to my studio. I wanted to bring up a topic that seems to come up quite often with creatives. I was talking to a friend earlier about what do you do when you don't feel so creative? How do you show up and how do you work when you're not inspired? And I know we can all get busy and distracted, and it's difficult to focus, and we can't always turn on that creative brain when we want to, when we do have the time. So I was just at a workshop at Jean Oliver's, and we talked a little bit about this, and she had some wonderful advice. And her advice was to show up. Just show up to your studio, and I love that. So I've been really trying to take that to heart. I do feel like I kind of had that kind of practice going for myself. So I'm going to go through a video of what I do when I show up to my art studio in the morning. And you don't have to have a studio. It can be your kitchen table or wherever you work, but make sure you, like anything in life, you have a routine, and I've found this has really helped me, and art journaling has been a huge process for me to get started on bigger art pieces. So I hope you enjoyed, and thank you so much for joining me. Hi everyone, so I wanted to jump right into my creative process and how I start my day, especially on the days that I don't feel so inspired. Typically, my ideal day, I have a family, so my life is busy, and sometimes that shifts, and I have to shift with it. But my ideal day is to start by getting some exercise. I go for a walk or a hike or a bike ride, or I love to do yoga. So that's a great way for me to just feel energized and a little bit grounded. And then when I show up to my studio, I like to gather my materials based on what I'm working on. I have talked about this before, gathering your color palette already, so you're not going around your studio searching for what materials and what colors to use. So I have everything here. I have a basket, and then I have the color palette I'm going to use. Right now I'm studying Japan in our Art Passports journey, so I'm going to start with a art journal page. I like to also write a to-do list so that I know what the day looks like, what I actually have to accomplish, and what can wait a little bit, but I'd like to get to. So for this Japanese journal study, I'm so inspired by Beth Kempton's Wabi Sabi book. You can see it's very well used. I have taken it on travels. I think it made it to the ocean. That is why it is a little stained. But if you have not read her books, she has a beautiful way with words. She is so eloquent. But this whole concept of wabi sabi is difficult to define, but I would like this reflected in my artwork. So I will go through on a quote. I like to start by reading or being inspired by a quote or something that I am studying at the time, which helps kind of my mind shift into that mode of creating or focusing in on what I'm researching. So wabi sabi is an intuitive response to beauty that reflects the true nature of life. Wabi sabi is an acceptance and appreciation of the impermanent, imperfect, and incomplete nature of everything. So that's really the one that hits home for me. I think finding the appreciation of the imperfect in our lives is just so beautiful, and something that Japanese culture has really captured. So I will do a quick time lapse of just kind of my routine and how I get started to overcome those creative fears of not being able to start. So thank you for joining me.